This is the newsroom for Monday, December 7, 2020. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, Guyana and Suriname sign an open skies agreement in record time, but decides to suspend the December 12 reopening of the ferry service. Residents of Crabwood Creek protest for the removal of the NDC chairman.
Notice if you can do something for your people in the community, step down and give others a chance.
The Director of Public Prosecutions has filed an appeal against the decision of Magistrate Rondell Weaver to dismiss the causing death by dangerous driving charge against former Army Chief Gary Bess. Yubraj Narayan is re-elected as Mayor of Georgetown and says he's ready to work with the PPP government. And in sport, Brighton John wins time trial in Linden and Olympic hopeful Kevin Alicock receives financial boost from Guyana Olympic Association. With the news, I'm Kurt Campbell. We're glad you can join us. First up, Guyana and Suriname have signed another pact, this time an Open Skies Air Services Agreement. The new agreement, which removes restrictions on travel between the two countries, joined other agreements signed between the two sides recently for the construction of a country-to-country bridge and improved dialogue. As the world observes International Civil Aviation Day, Guyana and Suriname have signed an Open Skies Air Services Agreement, removing several restrictions that were placed on travel between the two countries previously. The agreement was signed by Guyana's Minister of Public Works, Juan Egel, and Suriname's Minister of Transport, Communication and Tourism, Albert Jabutana, at the Pegasus Hotel, Georgetown. Among its features, the agreement removes all restrictions on capacity and frequency for cargo to and from Suriname and Guyana. It also specifies arrangements for dry and wet leases and seeks to offer a level playing field to both countries. Egel said that the agreement also removes all restrictions on market access, capacity and pricing to create an open market and give route rights to respective airlines.
So what we're doing this afternoon in this ceremony is putting words into action. And this agreement is truly a historic agreement, and it is an unimpeded move to ensure that there is collaboration between both countries.
Egel pointed out that Suriname has good connectivity to Europe and the Dutch Caribbean, while Guyana offers connectivity to North America and the English-speaking Caribbean. Meanwhile, Suriname's Jabutana, who has traveled to Guyana for a one-day visit with a 7-member delegation, said the signing of the agreement is a direct result of commitments of Presidents Irfan Ali and Yesu Persaud Santokhi. Jabutana said the Open Skies Agreement is one of the two countries' foremost agreement, offering connectivity for communities, creating economic growth, and contributing to sustainable development on both sides.
I believe that the economic benefits aside, it will reunite friends and families. We will foster a better relationship between our two nations because more Surinamese people will have the opportunity to see the wonders of Guyana, and more Guyanese will experience the Surinamese hospitality.
Since a change in government in both Suriname and Guyana this year, the two sides have been working aggressively to strengthen relations. Suriname Santokhi was the honored guest in Guyana for President Ali's inauguration, while Dr. Ali recently visited Suriname for its 45th independence celebrations. During both travels, the two sides held bilateral discussions on improving relations. Already, Guyana and Suriname have finalized agreements for the construction of the Currentine River Bridge and enhanced dialogue. We tell you now that residents of Crabwood Creek on Monday protested outside the Neighborhood Democratic Council's office, calling for the removal of the NDC chairman. The protest action started around 8 hours and concluded at 10:30 hours. The newsroom spoke with some of the residents who noted that the chairman has been in his position for 13 years but has not been addressing the issues in the community.
Must go! NDC family of friends. Arjun must go! We need a new chairman!
This chairman is in this position for 13 years. And the people of Crabwood Creek recently signed a petition of hundreds, near to 500, and give to the minister. They don't want this dictator to rule. The minister came and he did nothing about it. the party representative discussed secretly at number 63 and called Tiro and asked him, what are you going to do? Go back in your position? This man is being covered by the party people. He is not needed by the people of Crabo Creek.
So if you know to yourself you can do something for your people in the community, step down and give others a chance. Come out and hear your people them problem. No, they ain't there when you come to this one tell you go to wrong. When you come to this one, they tell you they can't do nothing. So what they ain't there do? Step down and give others a chance who can do better for the people.
We have a lot of streets need to fix. When you come to the NDC, they do nothing. They have the subvention. When they saving from the subvention, they fix their office. They choose themselves over the people before they take their money from the saving of the subvention and keep it when the street gonna get bad in whichever area and fix them. So this is the kind of people we have in the NDC.
We want to remove the chairman of the NDC, which is Mr. Thiru Arjun. He has been in there for 13 very long years, and we need new people, new ideas, new vision for development. I'm calling on the Minister of Local Government and the leadership of the PPP party to look at a list of candidates and choose councillors who are smart and educated. Both the chairman and the overseer, whenever residents come in to make a complaint, they treat them very badly and do nothing about the complaint.
We want a just and we want a humble and kind leader. We don't want a dictator. We need someone who is there to serve everyone regardless of their faith, their religious, their position in society, their connection with authority, those in authority. We need someone like that.
The residents said they have signed a petition and sent it to Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, Nigel Darmlal, asking for the administration to intervene. The petition was signed by close to 200 persons, but they are awaiting a response. The December 12, 2020 resumption of the Guyana-Suriname ferry service at the Molson Creek crossing has been cancelled with no date set for its resumption. Guyana's Minister of Public Works, Juan Echo, confirmed the cancellation with the Newsroom on Monday, 5 days before the highly anticipated scheduled resumption for the service, which has been down for some 8 months. Echo said the decision was taken as both governments look to address the large gathering of Cuban nationals at South Drain, Suriname, who have been camping out in eagerness to travel to Guyana once the crossing reopens.
Diplomatic level that is being handled, and as soon as the issue of the congregating and a determination of what will take place with the Cubans that are at the South Drain on the Suriname side, as soon as that has been resolved, we are ready. As a matter of fact, the directors of both the Kanawaima Ferry Inc. and the Kanawaima Management Committee will be meeting on Friday in Guyana and in Suriname. At 10 o'clock, we will be meeting in Guyana, then we cross to Suriname for a 1 o'clock meeting.
In your discussions, how do you hope to resolve the issue, really, with the Cubans at South Drain?
That is being handled at the levels of our foreign ministers, engaging all the parties concerned, and my understanding is that there is excellent collaboration. The United Nations is also involved, and that is going very well.
Only last week, the two governments agreed that the MV Sandaka will be used as the replacement vessel for the MV Kanawama as health protocols were being finalized. The recent announcement was welcomed by both countries. The service was suspended in May 2019 for repairs and then again in March 2020 when Suriname recorded its first COVID-19 case. The authorities in Region 6, since the beginning of the pandemic in March, were faced with illegal border crossing between Guyana and Suriname. Without the ferry service, the alternative is using the backtrack route to illegally enter and leave Guyana. When the newsroom returns, the Director of Public Prosecutions has filed an appeal against the decision to dismiss the causing death by dangerous driving charge against former Army Chief Gary Bess. And Yubraj Narayan is re-elected as Mayor of Georgetown and says he's ready to work with the PPP government. Stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. Member of the Partnership for National Unity, APNU, Yubraj Narayan was re-elected as the Mayor of Georgetown on Monday, and on the top of his agenda is to work with the People's Progressive Party administration for the development of the city. The mayor says he has many plans in store for 2021, including the redevelopment of the Stabroek Market Square. Isanella Patwa has the details.
The mayor and city councillors of Georgetown on Monday re-elected Yubraj Narayan and Alfred Mentor as mayor and deputy mayor, respectively. The election took place in City Hall's compound and no other nominations were made for the post. Narayan and Mentor have been serving in their respective capacities since November 30th, 2018. They were re-elected as well in December 2019. Narayan told reporters that he is ready to put politics aside and work with the government for the benefit of the city and its citizens.
So I'm willing to work along with government, stop playing politics, let us get on with the business of the city, and the people's life are very important in this crucial time, global pandemic, what we're facing. Government need to work with us. We extend our arms to government. We wanted to reach with the minister. We met 2 times, but it seems it's pure games, and I'm not ready for games. I will stand very firm as mayor to represent this city, and I will do so without fear or favor. The minister needs to get a grip of himself and need to come forward and let us have discussion on projects. Minister Dharma spoke about the audit. He never wrote me on it. He promised his council when he took office, when he spoke upstairs in the chamber, that he will give his support, have discussion, further discussion on council matters. And the numerous things we outlined and he outlined, and we're ready for it. But nothing is coming forward.
The mayor said a number of policies will be the focus of 2021, as well as the refurbishing of the City Hall building and the redevelopment of the Stabroek Market Square.
Policies, what we are focusing on, surplus policy, we have the asset register policy, we have, I can't really remember all, but there's a couple of policies. As well, the new building bylaws it is with the Engineer Association. So there's a lot of development.
The mayor also called for better engagement and consultations from the government, as he claims there are works ongoing in the city of which City Hall has no idea about. Meanwhile, the mayor further called for the government to implement a reuse and recycle plan to deal with the solid waste. As it relates to taxes, the mayor said that businesses, government agencies and residential areas currently owe the council over 8 billion Guyana dollars. It was further highlighted that there has been no engagement with the private sector and the council since the PPP took office. In noting credible achievements over the past 2 years, Mayor Narayan revealed that the council has been upkeeping payments to the credit union, and the 32 million garbage bill is now down to approximately 15 million. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Isanella Patwa.
The Director of Public Prosecutions, Senior Counsel Shalimar Ali Haq, has filed an appeal against the decision of City Magistrate Rondell Weaver to dismiss the charge of causing death by dangerous driving against former Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defence Force, Rear Admiral retired Gary Bess. The magistrate upheld a no-case submission made by Bess lawyer Nigel Hughes last week on several grounds, including that the prosecution failed to prove that Bess was driving dangerously on February 8, 2020 at Clive Lloyd Drive, Georgetown, and resulted in the death of national cyclist Jude Bentley. The case was prosecuted by Shellon Daniels. Following the ruling, the DPP moved to the Court of Appeal seeking to have the magistrate's decision to set aside or reverse. Bess is currently before City Magistrate Clive Nurse for the offence of driving under the influence of alcohol. The 41-year-old national cyclist was killed on the Rupert Craig Highway on February 8 while training. He was struck down by a Land Cruiser driven by Bess. Bess was initially taken into custody but was released in $100,000 station bail. He was found to be way above the alcohol limit at the time of the accident. There have been widespread outrage at the decision of the magistrate to allow Bess to walk free. Bentley's family is also upset at the decision and accused the judiciary of corruption. The United Minibus Union continues to disagree with the government's decision as it relates to the public transportation sector during the COVID-19 pandemic. In the most recent updated COVID-19 order, public transportation is now allowed to carry passengers at full capacity. President of the union, Ian Andrews, during an interview with the Newsroom on Monday, said this will only contribute to the spread of COVID-19 and does not comply with the Health Ministry and the World Health Organization guidelines on physical distancing. Isanella Patwa reports.
The latest COVID-19 gazetted order greenlights public transportation providers, whether by air, land or water, to carry the full number of passengers they are licensed to carry. The only requirement is that each passenger must wear a face mask. President of the United Minibus Union, Ian Andrews, does not support this decision and believes it conflicts with the COVID-19 guidelines to be at least 6 feet apart. Andrews stated that the decision will only add to the country's positive COVID-19 cases.
There's no way or no sensible thought whereby something is escalating and you're going back to normal. You have England, you have all these big metropolis realize that this second wave, and they've put some measures in place that is the only way to go. Because when you talk about minibuses and these boat water transport going back to full capacity, you are empowering some of the most indisciplined set of workers.
Andrews continued his plea for the minibuses to transport 2 passengers in a seat. The previous COVID-19 order allowed for 3 passengers to be transported in a seat. Andrews said now some minibuses are even transporting 5 passengers in 1 seat.
The union has said, and it continues to say, as long as there's COVID-19, otherwise the persons I represent, one has to remember that the commuters, without them, there's no sector. And you cannot have train a seat. There must be a space in between. We have to cut our losses and carry on a little less.
The union is not an enforcement agency and therefore can only advise the service providers to think of the health and safety of its passengers.
Bartica recognizes that it is spiraling. The transportation providers in Bartica decide we are taking 2 in a seat. We are even dividing the workforce that each half of the buses work 3 days and another half today. I mean, these are sane decisions. The union don't have to tell you that.
Andrews further called for the National COVID-19 Task Force to engage the union and other stakeholders before these decisions are made. Reporting for the Newsroom, I am Isanella Patwa.
The Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC, has turned down requests to reduce the number of subjects to be written at the 2021 Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate (CSEC) examinations, but has reduced the number of practical school-based assessments (SBAs) to be completed. In an interview with the Newsroom, Education Minister Prem Manichan explained that the regional body has also declined to reduce the syllabus, noting that students who are writing the examinations in a pandemic need to be just as educated as persons who did so before COVID-19.
They issued a decision that says CXC next year is going to be sat at around June. There's, in 2021, it's just unlikely to be the wide range of subjects that Guyana had been asking for. 2022, so we were saying, please give us, in January of 2022, all of the subjects. So if we have students who choose the option of not writing in June 2021, but giving themselves 6 months extra that they could take this exam in January of 2022, it appears as though the number of subjects offered in January 2022 is going to be limited. So except a student is taking only what is being offered, then that might not be an option. We also know that the CXC has taken a very firm decision that the syllabus is not going to be reduced in any way. So they're not going to say we're dropping these 10 topics from any particular syllabus or a collection of them. The syllabus is going to be fully examined. That means that we have to be fully prepared, which justifies, frankly, the return to school, because there's no way we could prepare if we're not getting the engagement. But they have taken some important decisions that we're going to announce shortly. For example, they've reduced significantly the number of SBAs and practicals that need to be done from 18 to 8, from 22 to 13, large numbers of reductions in various subjects so that there would be less practical work that has to be finished, and there's a reason for that. So SBAs should have started since April of this year. And most countries in the region who take CXC have been out of school from April of this year. So they're trying not to reduce the quality of work or not to interfere with the quality of the certificate they issue, but at the same time take into consideration the reduced number of months. So the syllabus will not be reduced, but some of the practical work in many of the subject areas will be reduced.
CXC has changed a number of assignments for physics, biology, and chemistry from 16 to 8. Those for family and resource management moved from 13 to 6, and those for integrated science moved from 22 to 8. Still ahead in the newsroom, a 34-year-old woman dies from COVID-19 and 32 new cases have been recorded. You're watching the newsroom. The Ministry of Health has revealed that 34-year-old woman of Region 4 has become the country's latest COVID-19 fatality, taking the death toll to 154. The ministry said she died at a medical facility on Sunday while receiving medical care. This is the third person to die this month following the death of two men on December 5, an 81-year-old from Region 7, Kuyuni Mazaruni, and a 55-year-old from Region 1, Barima Waini. Both persons died while receiving care at a medical facility, the ministry said. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health on Monday recorded 32 COVID-19 cases from 210 tests, taking the overall number of confirmed cases to 5,665. The new cases were reported in Region 1 and 4 with 3 new cases each. Region 2 recorded 11 new cases, Region 6 recorded 4 new cases, Region 7 recorded 7 new cases, while Region 9 recorded 1 new case and Region 10 recorded 3 new cases. There are 720 patients currently in home isolation, 40 in institutional isolation, and 4 patients in the COVID-19 intensive care unit at the Infectious Diseases Hospital at Liliendal, East Coast, Demerara. A total of 4,779 persons have recovered. The government has rehired Bharat Dindial as the Chief Executive Officer of the Guyana Power and Light Company effective December 7, 2020. This was confirmed by Public Relations Officer Chevron Sears Murray, who said Dindial commenced working on Monday morning. The new CEO takes up his post at a time when the company is working to increase its generation capacity to reduce power outages for the holiday season. GPL at the weekend received 6 1.6 megawatt Caterpillar units, which were purchased to boost generating capacity by 9.6 megawatts. Dindial was previously employed with GPL until his contract came to an end on December 31, 2014. However, he continued on the job until August 2015, when he was sacked over reported clashes with his deputy. The newsroom understands that Dindial was rehired as a management consultant on October 19, 2020, before taking up the CEO post. Manufacturers from China are scheduled to arrive in Guyana on Wednesday to begin consultations to fix the Guyana Power and Light submarine cable, which links the Kingston and Vredenhoek substations. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, told reporters on Monday that the repair works require technical advice and solutions. According to Indar, the cable should be fixed within 2 weeks. In the meantime, the government has instructed the Maritime Administration Department, MARAD, not to have any ship or vessel anchor in the vicinity where the cable is located along the bank of the Demerara River.
Well, we put some very strict systems in place with MARAD in terms of putting having ship anchor in the area, what they call Area C in the Demerara River, which is an anchor area, which really is where this Line 6 comes from Vredenhoek to Kingston. So MARAD has been instructed not to have any ship anchor in that vicinity, and they will be putting additional processes in place for monitoring. So if any ship have gone there without permission and so on, they will be moved away quickly. But no anchoring is to be happening in that area. But there also another line, which is a 13.9 kVA line that we have to also protect too, right? So it's not just the big one that brings over base load power. The 69 kVA cable is what was severed. There's another cable of 13.9 as well that we have, and we have to protect that one too.
Okay, that has been restored, all right?
You're talking about the 69. No, not as yet. That cable, for you to repair that cable is a very technical job. We had to bring in consultants from China for the manufacturers to do that job. They should leave, from everything I heard, on Wednesday to come to Guyana. right? In light of COVID, they had to get vaccines and a whole lot of other stuff to come to Guyana to fix that cable, right?
So you're aiming for that to come back online like next
Well,
next
they
month?
told me as soon as it start, we're looking at 2 weeks to repair that cable. But it's a completely separate cable. You have to have subsea divers there to go on the riverbed and fix that. It's a very technical job. It's not something you just go put two wires back together.
How much the
That's right.
cost for repairs?
We haven't gotten that as yet, but when that is known, I'll let you know.
The Ministry of Health has more than 50,000 COVID-19 antigen tests, which it will be using in all regions to ensure persons can get their results within a much shorter time, especially in remote areas. The test takes 20 minutes to produce results. However, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony clarified that since antigen tests are only effective after a few days of a person becoming infected, it will only be administered to persons with COVID-19 symptoms. During his daily COVID-19 update, the minister also disclosed that the government imported 2 additional PCR testing machines at the weekend and can now do up to 1,500 tests per day.
We would be deploying them, but there are conditions for the deployment because they're a little bit less sensitive. So at the beginning of someone getting infected, they're not as effective as to detect the infection. But if you wait a few days, then they become more effective at detecting the infection. So with the antigen tests, our protocol and the WHO protocol suggests that you use them when somebody displays signs or symptoms of COVID-19. So if somebody got a fever, if somebody is complaining of fatigue, headaches, all the typical signs and symptoms of COVID, if they have lack of smell, lack of taste, these are all signs that we will look for. And once people are displaying these signs, we will be able to do the test. Once we do the test, it's a very simple test to be done actually. So just like with a PCR, you have to swab the person. And once you complete that swabbing, you take the swab. There are little tubes that you'll have. You put them in there. There's a special set of reagents in the tube. You twirl it for maybe 3 or 4 times. And then you take droplets from that tube and you put it onto a testing board. And once you put the droplets there, you wait for 15 to 20 minutes and then you'll see some lines appear which would indicate whether the person is positive. So once those lines are there, you know the person is positive. So it's very simple and you can see it as it unfolds. So we thought that it's important to use this, especially in some of the areas where it's challenging to do the swab and then send the swab out to the national lab, that once people display signs and symptoms, they're in a hard-to-reach area, that these tests becomes more important. So that's why we're deploying them. The PCR test is still the gold standard for testing. And we still have that. We still have the capacity to do that. We have increased that capacity, because we've constantly been adding equipment and so forth at the national lab. So over the weekend, for example, we brought in 2 PCR machines and additional reagents, and these are all automated machines. So we would now be able, once we install the machine and put everything together, we will be able to do more than 1,000 PCR tests per day. I would say we can comfortably do about 1,500 or more in a given day.
When the newsroom returns, the financial weather and bird reports along with sport. Welcome back to the newsroom. It's time for sport. Brighton John of the We Stand United Cycle Club was the fastest on Sunday when the second leg of the time trial series was held in Linden. Over 30 riders completed in the one-day event. Avinash Ramzan reports.
The race started in front of KD&J Supermarket at the Milliers Ward, proceeded to Moblissa Hill and returned to the start point for the finish. Riders in the open and veterans categories covered that route a distance of 13.5 miles. Brighton John finished with the best time of 32 minutes 38 seconds, comfortably ahead of his namesake Jamal John, who was timed at 34 minutes 12 seconds. Marlon Fishy Williams, who won the first leg in Georgetown on November 22, had a third best time of 34 minutes 34 seconds. Marcus Keeler, Segan Hubbard, Walter Grant Stewart, Alex Mendez, Balram Narain, Kwame Ridley and Jaikaran Sukai completed the top 10 finishers. The junior juveniles and females also started at KD&J Supermarket but turned at Bamia Hill and returned to the start point, covering a distance of 8.5 miles. Kwame Fortune was the lone novice competitor, while Aaron Newton, Alex Leong and Andrew Forrester were the top three in that order in the junior category. The top female was Susan Hamilton, followed by Denise Jeffrey and Clavicia Spencer. The race was held in strict compliance with the national COVID-19 measures and in accordance with the stipulations outlined in the approval letter from the Minister of Health. The third and final leg will be held on December 13 in Berbice, starting at 9 hours in front of Benjamin Sport and Fitness Center at Fyrish, proceeding along the number 19 road and ending at Guyol Gas Station at Palmyra. We tell you now that Guyanese bantamweight boxer Kevin Alicock has been added to the Olympic Solidarity Scholarship by the Guyana Olympic Association. It is expected to significantly aid his bid to qualify for the Olympic Games next year. Akim Green reports.
Alicock started the scholarship on September 1st, 2020 and it will run until August 31st, 2021, just after the conclusion of the Olympic Games in Tokyo. It is worth US $500 per month. Narayan Ramdani, Troy Doris, Winston George, Ali Abrams, Andrea Foster, Vanessa Thompson, Kadisha Beard, Chelsea Edgell, and Shamar Britton were the initial recipients of the scholarship, which started in May 2018. GOA Treasurer Garfield Wilshire explained that Alicock was nominated from the inception to be on the scholarship, but there was an issue with the International Boxing Association and the International Olympic Committee, which caused him not to be granted. Wilshire added, Beard was replaced on the program due to issues with her reporting, which paved the way for Alicock to be the replacement. GOA head K.A. Human Yasin felt there should be the impetus needed to push him to qualify.
He is a person who is worthy to be in that. He is our top and most promising Olympic hopeful, and I am certain that with this added impetus, it will drive him on to even do better.
Human Yasin further indicated, though the scholarship runs until August, if he doesn't qualify for the Games in May or July, it will end at that point. Alicock in response thanked the GAA for the support and said it is a blessing to him and will help him to focus on the qualifiers.
This is a blessing to me, I can say, and this would help me focus more on the Olympic trials and after that the Olympic Games. This means a lot to me, I can say. You know, it's a blessing again. I want to thank God for this wonderful opportunity that He has blessed me with. Well, my focus now is going to be 100% and more. And, you know, by God's grace, definitely we're going to bring this Olympic medal, we're going to qualify, and we're going to fly the flag high again, because that's my dream.
Guyana Boxing Association President Steve Ninval felt this is a positive step in making professional athletes and giving them the best possible chance to succeed.
Kevin will now be able to focus entirely on boxing. And this is something that we've been hoping for some time. We do not have professional, when I say professional, persons who can box and only box. And this scholarship paves the way for him to be 100% focused on boxing. And I would want to believe that Kevin has matured in the past 2 years. And with that sort of maturity, I can understand that now there's even the greater possibility of us seeing not only an Olympic qualification, but an Olympic medal coming from this young man.
Seward Blake, Alicock's coach, said he will be ensuring he gives his best to ensure Alicock comes out successful in his endeavors. Alcock is expected to compete in Argentina in May for a chance to qualify. He is currently ranked 19th by AIBA in the 56 kg weight category. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Cricket news now. After a resounding innings defeat against New Zealand in the first test, West Indies captain Jason Holder has laid the blame squarely at the feet of the batsmen. New Zealand batted once, piling up 519 for 7 on the back of Kane Williamson's career best 251. In reply, West Indies made 138 and 247 to lose by an innings and 134 runs.
Jess, obviously not the result we wanted in the first test. But where exactly do you think it went wrong for us in the match?
Look, we didn't bat well in either of the innings, particularly from the top order. Yes, Azari and Jameer got scores for us and brought some respectability to the total, but all wrong, I don't think the batting effort was good enough for the lower order to be really pulling the team into the hole most of the time. It's not acceptable. I just think top order batters just need to step up. The wicket was good enough, in my opinion, for them to get some scores, and we just got to take responsibility as batters.
What's the mood like in the dressing room post-match?
Yeah, we're all disappointed, very disappointed. I feel as though we let down not only ourselves but the entire Caribbean. Yeah, we didn't play well enough. Conditions were pretty good for cricket in general. And we just didn't utilize them to the best of our ability, and we didn't put up a really good fight.
What are the positives that we will take to Wellington?
Obviously the way Jermaine played, obviously the way Alzari played. I still felt the bowlers bowled really well. We went past the bat on a number of occasions, created chances, and we fought. Those are the positives I can think of, that we can take forward. Obviously we've got a lot more that we've got to brush upon in the next coming days, and short turnaround between this one and the next. So we just need to find a way to make it click.
And what's the possibility of Alzari Joseph moving up the batting order?
Well, if he continues to bat the way he batted in this game, there's a damn good possibility that he could get up. He's obviously showed his capabilities with the bat. He showed application as well, and he showed cricket smarts the way he went through it. So I was really pleased for him personally, and to form that partnership that he did with Jermaine was outstanding. Supporting Jermaine, and then obviously adding to the score. He didn't only just hang around. He put pressure back on the New Zealand bowlers and made them work really hard to get him out. So credit to him, credit to Jermaine, and hopefully the other batters can step up based on his performances.
Thanks, Skip. Good luck in the next match.
Thank you.
In a match totally dominated by New Zealand, Jermaine Blackwood was West Indies' standout, scoring a combative 100 in the second innings, his second Test 100. He found good company in Alzari Joseph, who cracked 86, his highest Test score. The second and final Test starts on Thursday evening Caribbean time in Wellington. Now, England's tour to South Africa has been abandoned after a number of positive coronavirus tests. A South Africa player and 2 members of the hotel staff tested positive, while England say 2 members of their party returned unconfirmed positive tests. A 3-match T20 series was completed, but a 3-match one-day series has been postponed. A statement said the tour was called off to ensure the mental and physical health and welfare of players. England are still waiting for ratification of their positive tests, with the 2 people affected set to be tested again on Monday. The results will not come before Tuesday at the earliest, and the tourists will not leave South Africa before they have been received. And Racing Point's Sergio Perez pledged to find a way to prolong his F1 career after taking his maiden victory in the Sakir Grand Prix. The Mexican is out of contract for next season, and his only possibility for a drive is if Red Bull pick him for their second seat. He said, and I quote, "After today, I am determined to be here. My best option is to keep going next year, but if I have to stop, it is not a disaster. I can come back in 2022, end quote. Perez's team decided to replace him for 2021 with the 4-time champion Sebastian Vettel after the German was dropped by Ferrari. The other car is occupied by Lance Stroll, the son of Racing Point's billionaire owner Lawrence Stroll. Perez, who made his F1 debut in 2011, said victory in his 190th Grand Prix, quote, "gives me a bit more peace with myself. What happens is not so much in my hands. I want to keep going," end quote. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. My name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching.